Welcome to another episode of Prebuilt PCs versus PC builds. This time is going to be the $1,500 edition, and I'm going to show you the different Prebuilt PCs and also a $1,500 PC build and tell you which one is really worth the price and whether or not you should build a PC yourself depending on your situation, especially at this price point. You will have the links to this PC build and all the Prebuilt PCs I'm going to mention throughout the video down below in the video description. That being said, let's start. First, we are going to be talking about the PC build. This is a $1,510 gaming PC build for 1440p and 4K resolution. We have the Ryzen 5 7600 with the RX 7900 XT. If you're new to PCs and you know nothing about components, this is basically maxed out 1440p experience, really similar performance to the RTX 4070 Ti, and on a 13 game average at 1440p high to ultra settings, the RX 7900 XT was able to average 161 FPS, which is a really high number considering we are also talking about high demanding titles on high to ultra settings. And then at 4K it was able to average 94 FPS, which was the fourth best GPU on the market for 4K resolution. And trust me, this GPU is way cheaper than any of the other GPUs that perform better. So for $1,500 you are getting an excellent system for 1440p and also for 4K resolution. Then for the rest of the components you get 32 gigs of RAM, which is going to be amazing not only for gaming but also for streaming and content creation. We have a future-proof system as well because we are on the latest AM5 platform. If you're new to PCs, this basically means that if you want to upgrade your CPU down the line, you will not have to upgrade the motherboard because it will be on the same platform at least for the next few years. Then for the case we have the Fractal Design Pop Mini Air. This one has a beautiful front mesh panel, 3 install fans. I think it looks amazing and the airflow is top tier for the price of $90. You also get 2TB of Gen 4 SSD, so plenty of storage even if you're a content creator, but if you're going to do just gaming, 2TB is definitely way more than enough. And then for the power supply we have a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply, which is going to be enough wattage, and this is an A tier rated unit, meaning that it's excellent quality. So overall for the price of $1,500 you are getting an amazing system, as I said before, for 1440p and 4K resolution. And if you want to play esports titles such as Valorant, Fortnite, CSGO and these type of games, you will be able to average 200 plus FPS even on 4K resolution. So if you want a high refresh rate monitor, feel free to buy one. Now let's compare it with some Prebuilt PCs. First, I'm going to talk about the Prebuilt PCs I wouldn't recommend you buying, and I think these Prebuilt PCs are actually not good in terms of price to performance, and they are not even comparable with other Prebuilt PCs on the market, let alone the $1,500 PC build. First, the Corsair A7300. This one has the Ryzen 5 7600X, which is a great CPU, but then we have the RTX 3060, which is why I wouldn't recommend you buying this system. This is the closest to $1,500 I could find on Corsair, and the total price is $1,650, which is already $150 over budget, and you're getting the RTX 3060, which is a 1080p GPU. So you can play at 1440p medium to high settings, 60 plus FPS on average, which is nice, but not if you're spending $1,650. You're expecting at least a 1440p gaming experience. The rest of the components are fine, but the RTX 3060 will not do any good at the price of $1,650. And then the other one I wouldn't recommend you buying, which is much better in terms of price to performance than the Corsair one, but still not my favorite, is the iBuyPower L20 RG201. This one is $1,450, so under $1,500, which is great. You get the Ryzen 7 7700X, which is an amazing CPU, but then you get the RTX 4060 Ti 8 gig version, which I wouldn't recommend, especially for 4K resolution. For 1440p is going to be just fine depending on the game that you play and depending on the settings. I wouldn't recommend you buying this one either for the price of $1,450. But now let's talk about the PCs that I would recommend you considering at this price point. The first one being the Skytech Nebula. This one is my favorite because of the price. It's $1,350 and you get the RTX 4070. Then for the CPU you get the i5-12400F, which is not going to be the best CPU out there to pair with the RTX 4070, but it's also not going to be a bottleneck at 1440p and especially not at 4K resolution. Then you get 16 gigs of RAM, a 1TB NVMe SSD and a 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply. Overall you get a really nice system for the price of $1,300 $1,450, so you are even $150 below the $1,500 mark, which is really nice, especially if you also have to buy a new monitor. And overall, this PC, in my opinion, is one of the best ones in terms of price to performance on the market. The RTX 4070 is going to be slower than the RX 7900 XT from the PC build, and I'm going to talk about that in a second after talking about all the PC builds. The other PC I would recommend you considering is the NZXT Player 2. Now, this one is $1,600, so $100 over budget, and it has the RTX 4070 and the Ryzen 5 5600X, and it's $100 over budget. So I would consider buying it if you really like the NZXT aesthetics. However, this PC is not the best in terms of price to performance, and NZXT has that same Corsair extra price, but I mean $1,600 you're getting an excellent 1440p experience. You can see the 1440p benchmarks on the same website for Fortnite, Call of Duty, League of Legends, and GTA 5. In my opinion, it's not the best one in terms of price to performance, but I would consider buying this system if I really cared about the aesthetics and not so much about the price to performance. And then the other one to consider is one from Amazon, the Prebuilt PC Gaming Desktop. Now, this one has the 4070 and the Ryzen 7 5700X, 32 gigs of RAM, 500 gigs of SSD, and 2 terabytes of hard drive for $1,450. This is by far the best in terms of price to performance on this whole video when talking about Prebuilt PCs, because you get that Ryzen 7, which is going to be a better pair than the Ryzen 5 5600X and the i5 12400F. So if you want 0% bottleneck at 1440p, this one is the best one. However, the airflow does not look very promising on this system, but considering you have the RTX 4070, which is not going to require a ton of power, I don't think this will be an issue. And also you get 32 gigs of RAM, which is more memory than any other Prebuilt PC mentioned except for the Corsair one. If you buy a Prebuilt PC at around $1,500, you are going to get a system with the RTX 4070 on average, which is about 40% slower than the RX 7900 XT from the PC build I've mentioned. On that same 13 game average, the RTX 4070 was able to manage 126 FPS, while the 7900 XT, as I said before, 161 FPS, which is a large difference. And then at 4K, the RTX 4070 was able to average 70 FPS, while the RX 7900 XT was able to average 94 FPS. So in conclusion, if you get a Prebuilt PC with the RTX 4070, you are not going to be getting the same rasterized gaming performance. However, you are not getting something trash. So if you really don't want to build a PC build, I think for $1,500 you are getting great systems for 1440p resolution, and you can also play at 4K depending on the game and the settings. If you are willing to build it yourself, you're going to get a much better gaming experience and a more future-proof system as well. So I don't think you can go wrong by buying a PC build or a Prebuilt PC. So as I said, I don't think you should overthink it here and just get the one that is going to be the better option for you depending on your time, your situation, and whether or not you want to build a PC yourself. And I know I mentioned a lot about 1440p and 4K resolution here because it's important to have the right monitor. I would never recommend 1080p for any of these systems as I think it would be an overkill. For that reason, I do recommend you watching my latest video about monitors, where I recommend you the best 1440p and 4K monitor for every budget. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section or ask me on the personal PC help link. That will be the top link in the description, where I will help you out personally depending on your needs, your budget, and your goals. Thank you guys for watching, thank you for the support, and I will see you on the next one.